Hello and welcome to another video by Rick Miracle, me, in my series Freemasonry and Satanism. This will be a continuation of this book, The Element Encyclopedia of the Psychic World, Teresa Chang. The ultimate A to Z of spirits, mysteries, and the paranormal. Now, I'm not trying to do an audiobook, but I think a lot of people in the world right now, 2016, are not aware of some things going on and the reality of reality. For example, I was watching a video this morning, June 6th, that's 6/6, 2016, so I guess that could be construed as 666. In Los Angeles, and apparently plenty of places in the world, they shall be having, they have announced, the Church of Satan, that they're going to be having satanic rituals. And apparently what they'll do in LA, maybe many cities all over the world, is they'll take a city map, and they'll pick 5 locations, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like a 5-pointed star, or a pentagram, which is an occult witchcraft symbol. And they'll be having rituals at these locations. Satanic rituals, a celebration for June 6th, 2016. You can look this up. Then, if you're inclined, go look up ritual. Look up satanic rituals, if you will. Witchcraft rituals, Illuminati rituals. And you'll find out generally the most powerful and desired ultimate ritual will be the sacrificing and killing of a person on an altar. In many instances, drinking the blood, eating the flesh. Offering up this live person to some deity, some god. Satanism, Satan. Moloch. And this has been going on all over the world for thousands of years. Most people are aware of that. Whether you... There was a movie that came out recently about the Mayans. Chop off the head and roll the head down the stairs, and then they toss the body down the stairs, and it's just insane in my opinion. And the witchcraft rituals, I've seen videos and looked at some websites and researched some material. They'll actually drive around, let's say in a van, on a particular satanic holiday, and look for somebody to abduct, pull up alongside, jump out of the van, and drag them in the van, and take them to some secret spot, and sacrifice them. And the Illuminati, their ultimate rituals, Arizona Wilder, David Icke, and others you can research, women who were raised from a child to participate in these satanic rituals with the Illuminati. And apparently there are humans that are not totally 100% human, some kind of reptilian DNA that can literally shapeshift in and out of these forms. And the leader would be called a Pindar. Go watch the Arizona Wilder, David Icke. And she was raised as a child, and she tells all. Then there's Miles Johnston, the Basis series. You watch a couple of those, you'll say, oh my God, what the heck is going on this planet? The evil. And then look up the Talmudic Jews and the Kabbalah and the last couple thousand years. There's videos on YouTube of people who have done serious investigation. And throughout the last couple thousand years, there are documented cases all over the world where these certain Jews, not all Jews, were caught. They had abducted a little boy and kind of string him up or hold him up and punch him with these 7 or 8, 13 needles about this long, and put pinchers and torturous devices all over the child to create pain and agony, not wanting the child to die quickly. Same way they do animals for their kosher foods, the way they kill cattle and stuff. Many places have, there's been outrage about it. The way they slaughter cows and stuff. So anyways, there I am in LA watching a video about LA, and the Church of Satan is going to be celebrating with rituals in 5 locations in the city in the shape of a 5-pointed star or pentagram, which is a occult symbol, like a witch's circle. They draw a pentagram in a circle, then they get in the circle and do their chanting and stuff like that, practicing witchcraft. King Solomon, over there in Jerusalem, it's his temple, the first one. He got his power because he had a magic ring with a 6-pointed star that he could call forth demons. That's where he got his power. And even today, if you do any research at all, they are working toward preparing and even actively building, piece by piece, the 3rd temple as prophesied to bring about some event, prophesized event. So like I said, when I started this video, a lot of people just don't know what to believe. They're too busy with their own lives, and you can't blame them. They, striving to survive. The school system's not going to educate them. Apparently the churches are not going to educate them. But the public media with the billboards now that are telling you that you have the right to have freedom from religion. And then the logo I saw, and I showed on previous videos, faith no more. And then the all the other stuff, symbolism in movies and TV shows, and the propaganda, the mind control. These people are very smart. The newspaper press releases. It's just endless. Magazines, the pictures, all-seeing eye. The all-seeing eye on the dollar bill, the pyramid. So, as tedious as it is, look at the eye on this book. I think doing these videos and taking our time, I'll read the inside cover here. Psychic phenomena have fascinated human beings for thousands of years. These are mysteries, mysterious things that defy logic and the laws of nature and question what we really know about life and the universe. In recent years, our fascination with the supernatural has exploded and taken root in popular culture. From the novels of Stephen King to films like Ghost and The Sixth Sense. Let's take it a little further. Hunger Games, the movie. Divergent. Mad Max. There's so many more. A lot of the TV programming now. A lot of those shows I can't watch. The murder and mayhem. And the depiction of human beings as beasts. horrible creatures. They portray we humans. After a couple series of the show The Gotham, or even Texas Rangers, where they put the star with the circle around it in the beginning of the show, and in the background, if you look at the scenes, it's just on and on and on these TV programs and movies. And if you don't pay attention, you won't catch it. But once you start paying attention, things start happening, and I think at even a faster rate to people who start waking up. So let me just read some more from this book. Not wanting to really waste anybody's time, but I thought another little snapshot of stuff might be helpful. So I'm starting with A here, and it says absent healing. So healing somebody who's not in your presence. Edgar Cayce did that. Like 17,000 readings he did. Many of them by postcard or letter that people sent with their particular problem. And apparently the evidence is overwhelming. They have a Edgar Cayce Institute in Virginia Beach, which I'll try to visit, and plenty of books published. I think the first half of his life, let's break it down to 8,000 or 9,000 readings, were basically all about healing, and it stumped doctors. That's how good he was. And then in the middle of his career, he started by, well, for whatever reason, doing life readings, telling people about their past lives and the things they did, where they lived, what they were, etc. So absent healing. Healing that results from the sending of healing thoughts, visualization, prayers, or energy towards some distant person or persons. And I'm reminded again, and I've gone over this many times, Rabbi Marvin Antelman and his two books, Volume 1, Volume 2, To Eliminate the Opate. The opate means your belief in God. So the evil entities, as Rabbi Marvin Antelman says in his books in detail, the evil entities on this planet don't want you or I to pray. Why? Apparently, they know it works, and communication with the divine world is real. Incidences that happen in our lives. Anybody, me, you, watching this video, people you know, ask people. You ever thought of somebody and 10 minutes later you walked around a corner and boom, there they were? Or you got a phone call, or a letter, a premonition, a coincidence, an out-of-body experience, an afterlife experience. If you start asking around, you'll find out a lot of people have these things happen to them. So there is something more than this bioelectric body of mine. There's a spiritual entity within it. We're encasing it. All the cells in your body, billions, in your skin, in your bones, in your bloodstream, feeding off of the food you eat. Prayer works. You can heal yourself. I know Jesus' disciples would complain that they couldn't do the miracles that he did. And he said, "Ye of such little faith." And then he went on to say something like, "Ye shall do greater things than I." I'm paraphrasing maybe, so look up what I say, get a notebook and take notes. This is a learning thing. But let me get back to this book. So we got absent healing. It is based on the belief that all beings are interconnected by a universal life force or energy, and that healing thoughts send out subtle energies energetic charges into this web of interconnection and out to the person being thought about. Another book I read said that when you pray, apparently many of us, if not all of us, good people have guardian angels, because maybe evil people have supporting demons. I wouldn't want to say I'm guarding angels, supporting demons for evil people. So you get to choose a path, what kind of way you want to go. So if you accept Jesus as your Savior, or have faith in Jesus, you're connected to those subtle energies, whatever the reality is of Jesus's realm, where he says, in my Father's house there are many mansions. And then, of course, where the fallen angels in the Bible, wherever they were outcast to, the demons or evil angels, whatever you want to call them. And I do have a lot more exploding information on this stuff, but I thought I would just get down this a little bit of the fundamentals with this book again. Many psychics, spiritual healers, Reiki practitioners, and medical intuitives claim to be able to direct energy and perform absent healing. Typically, healers will speak the name of a sick person, the sick person, and they will focus on a photograph of the person, or a candle, or a doll that represents the person. The healing energies are then directed to where they are needed. How absent healing is accomplished. If it can be accomplished, remains an unproven mystery, but there is compelling evidence to suggest that emotional and sometimes physical healing can take place from a distance. Aside from countless personal accounts from those who have benefited from absent healing, American doctor Larry Dorsey conducted several double-blind trials to test the effectiveness of the absent healings in the early 1990s. At the end of the trials, the group that had been the object of prayer showed greater improvement in health than the controlled groups. So you have a doctor, Larry Dorsey, performing double-blind tests, two groups of people. One they pray for, the others they don't. And the ones they prayed for show a greater improvement in health than the controlled group. Wow. In this book. Again, I'm not going to do an audiobook. There's much in it. I'm just going to do this last video on this book, as thick as it is. Almost an encyclopedia. That's what it's called. But I thought it might behoove us on some future material that I'm going to do to keep this stuff in our minds. Remember, this reading and research is for myself, and I make these videos to share it. Obviously, I am not 100% correct. I don't believe everything in these books is 100% correct, but it does create a sort of a general conversation so that maybe many of us can get on the same path and wake up to things that we didn't know about, that are going on. And so many people I talk to are oblivious. They know nothing about any of this. That's just horrible to me. They don't know anything that's in the Bible these days. And it's taken a long time for the people who control our reality, like here in the United States in the early 1920s, 1930s, they had congressional hearings with suspected communist people who were infiltrating the institutions in the United States of America. And they testified that they were infiltrating the educational institutions, the media, newspapers, TV, education, all that stuff. the industries, to destroy the world as we know it, to bring about some kind of communist reality. And communism is not good. Alright, here we got something called the adept. That would be a person that's under the tutelage of a teacher to teach them the secrets, the occult, which I like to use the word witchcraft, which I think more clearly explains it. Although, like myself, being able to use a wooden stick or a pendulum to find water and do things, I don't think learning a little bit about the nature of using your higher power, your intuitive, your prayer, communicating with the God or whatever, I don't think it's necessarily evil, as long as one keeps in their mind that you got to be careful when you do that stuff. Just because you're communicating with something or getting some answers back with the pendulum doesn't mean that the entities are from God's world, Jesus' world. The good ones could be demonic ones. One of the angels that was cast out of heaven. So you have to test the spirits. And I think Jesus said that too. You can look it up. You need to test the spirits. So they are real. They are there, apparently. And one way you can test them is ask them, did Jesus rise from the dead, etc. And if you get, they can't lie on those questions. And did Jesus was crucified, stuff like that. And you can ask them also, is this a truthful answer? Apparently the spirits can tell you a lie, but when you ask them if it's a lie, they got to tell you the truth. It's a real funny business when you start getting into this stuff, so you really have to be careful. And probably good advice is not to get into this stuff. It would be foolish for a naive person who didn't know what they were doing to try to communicate with higher dimensional beings. I've gone over it. I've got books about it that warn it. Even remote viewers working for the government say that when you leave your body and you go into the astral world, it's pretty dangerous. There's a lot out there in the ether. I think that's what the UFO alien thing is all about. And like I said, King Solomon, thousands of years ago, was using a six-pointed ring to call forth demons, according to what's in the Bible and other written material. So an adept, back to the book. One who has achieved the highest mastery of mystical or occult powers. An adept is particularly proficient or knowledgeable about the nature and laws of the universe. So apparently there are some secrets they don't share with the rest of us. Unless these people are initiated in some organization, like the Freemasons, the Illuminati, probably the Zionists, the Jesuits, the Kabbalists, so many more of Bohemian Grove, Bilderberger groups. Did I say Illuminati? Knights of Columbus, Knights of Malta. Constance Coombe wrote that book, Beware of the Rainbow, which mentions these things. There's thousands of these groups. And they know things about reality, like voodoo. And how does voodoo work? Why, when you go see a psychic, let's say the forest rangers in Colorado, get a report that a couple is missing in the vast forest in the Rocky Mountains. And they go to see a psychic, and the psychic needs a piece of clothing or the hairbrush of the people who are missing. And they'll hold that in one hand and take a pendulum, or whatever, however they do it, and slowly take it over a map and ask in their mind repeatedly, are the people lost in this location? And just continue to think it. And at one point it starts to gyrate. I've gone over the books. And then they put a little X on the map. and a helicopter with the rangers will go to that location. And generally speaking, there will be the lost people in the forest. The reason it works is vibration frequencies. We all have a particular unique vibration. And if I were to have two exact rocks, if I take one rock and crack it in half, so it's the same rock, in between the two rocks will be a connecting vibrating cord because they're vibrating at the exact same frequency. Just like if you take two guitars, perfectly tuned, and you strike the A chord on this guitar will start vibrating also, because the wave matches exactly this A chord. And the same thing with tuning forks. You just take one, brr, and the other one will start burring too. That's how voodoo works. So when they do get some of your clothing, if you ever seen them make a voodoo doll, they have some of your skin, hair, whatever on your clothing. When they took from somebody's house and made a doll that looked like that person. And then, so there's a chord, a vibration between the two. And then with the mental thought forms, they plunge a needle into the doll. That thought form goes on that cord between the two, the person and the person, clothing or hair here. So it's all vibrational science. Evil is. So these people know certain things like that. And let's say you wanted to take somebody's factory or wife, so you need to have them pass away, die. And if you use this magic, you could do that, never have to approach them. Even the remote viewers, David Morehouse, Tim Rifat, and others, have said they were so proficient at leaving their body and observing the people they went to spy on or whatever, that they could even enter a person and control the person's movements and actions. This is powerful stuff. So an adept, those who wish to become adepts, people who are proficient at witchcraft and knowledge, could probably join a witch's coven or the Illuminati or a Freemason. Kabbalists may become apprentices or Sheilas to adepts, in which case the latter are known as masters. The activities of adepts are diverse. They can control forces both in the spiritual and physical worlds and prolong their lives for centuries. Wow, they can prolong their lives for centuries. Adepts can use their wisdom for both good or evil purposes. So again, I am not necessarily opposed. I certainly am not opposed when in the Bible Jesus is going around healing people or casting out evil spirits, unclean spirits he called them, or demons, etc., etc., or multiplying fish and bread to feed the multitude with only a couple of fish and 3 loaves of bread. He feeds 4,000. And I know through prayer from my own personal experience, it can solve problems in my life. And this isn't intended to be a religious conversation. This is, in my opinion, this is knowledge and scientific information and an exploration into what is reality. And why do the forces that be, who join all these secret mystery school of Babylon temples or lodges under all the different names, like Illuminati, Zionism, Jesuits, or Freemasons, Rosicrucians, Kabbalah, etc., etc., etc. Why do they swear under threat of death not to divulge or share this information with even their own spouse or family and friends? Threat of death. I've gone over that. Go online to a used bookstore. Find an old Blue Lodge Freemason handbook. $5, you can order it and read it. Or watch some of my videos where I've read it. So they can prolong their lives for centuries. Adepts can use their wisdom for both good or evil purposes. The term adept was also employed by the medieval alchemist to denote a master of their sciences. All right, next word is affirmation. Affirmation. Pardon my pronunciation. All right. Like I said, this little background research is going to make more sense on some future videos. I received a few more books in the mail pertaining to this kind of research. Oh my God, what did I find? You won't believe it, but I will be making a video. Affirmation, a positive phrase or sentence that through frequent repetition uses the power of your mind to create a truth in reality. Even though you may not be consciously aware that you are doing it, everyone uses affirmations, i.e. positive self-talk, to boost confidence and motivation at some time or other. I am completely convinced you or I, we are what we think we are. If we think we're a winner, we're likely going to be a winner. If we think we're a loser, we'll likely be a loser. We can control our reality. And I like to tell so many people this who are just negative, and some people think I am negative, and do I wear a tinfoil hat? I'm doing research. I enjoy doing research. I believe it's important research. I believe in God, and I think that Jesus was crucified. Why? Because he was popular with the people and teaching the good teachings, and the evil Pharisees and priests of the temple were jealous of his popularity. They were self-serving. Jesus said to treat other people how you want to be treated. What's wrong with that? He overthrew the money changers' tables. He supported Moses' 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not kill. But they had Jesus killed. So obviously they're not supporting the 10 Commandments. So that brings in the question again, if God of the 10 Commandments is not their God, if we are spiritual beings, there's obviously a spiritual realm, however people want to think about it, without being religious here. And in that spiritual realm, if it says in the Bible and all that, that a third of the angels were kicked out of that realm because of some chaos and anarchy, some kind of revolt in that spiritual realm. So now we can say there is certainly a divide in the spiritual realm, and maybe that cosmic battle is taking place here on earth, and we, the people, get to choose a side. Just like when they announce that maybe when they crash the daughter or they go to a new world currency, a gold exchange or something, that you can't buy or sell without some kind of chip put in you, the mark of the beast. They're using the 666 everywhere. Maybe that's the dividing line, is when you take the mark of the beast, you're joining voluntarily the evil realm. And you reject it. You can say you're not going to participate in that. And Lucifer or Satan is not going to be your savior, your God. I suppose it could be a lot of trouble on planet Earth if that comes about, as prophesied. So it says here a positive phrase or sentence that through frequent repetition uses the power of your mind to create a truth or reality. Well, I said already this on the last video, but I think this author of this book I'm holding in my hands is sugarcoating the issue a little bit Because I suppose you could use a negative phrase or sentence that through frequent repetition could be quite detrimental to yourself or somebody else. Even though you may not be consciously aware that you are doing it, everyone uses affirmations, i.e. positive self-talk, to boost confidence and motivation at some time or other. Affirmations are powerful verbal messages repeated over and over again, so that they become embedded in your brain, creating new pathways of thought and action. In other words, they provide your intuition with new avenues for insight and opportunity and prepare your mind for change. Well, didn't Obama say he was going to bring about change? Maybe he should be doing some better affirmations. But I'm not bashing just the Democrats. The Republicans are just as bad. They both work for the same puppet masters. Once the mind is prepared for change and new opportunities, wow, it is thought to be far easier to create those opportunities. And I suppose with all the propaganda in the media, newspapers, TV programming, school educational systems, organizations, locally, federally, statewide, worldwide, they are preparing the way for some new reality called the New Age, the New World Order. Using the tools of Agenda 21, biodiversity, sustainability, global warming, to convince everybody to go along. Let's go green. They use psychology on us all. I call it mind control, trances, deception. But unless you wake up to it and you can see it, and once you see it, it starts unfolding even more before your eyes. You start noticing it everywhere. You go, oh my God, man, I can see it. You got a dog coming up over here. So anyways, affirmations are typically used by men and women in sport and business, but they can be useful for any career or life skill where goal setting and mental strength is crucial. Psychotherapists, motivational speakers, and life coaches tend to use them as tools to help empower their clients and build self-esteem and alternate medicine. Therapists tend to suggest the use of affirmations to encourage the body's self-healing process. So I'm a big advocate of affirmations and positive thinking. And again, just because I research what's going on in the world, make no mistake, I don't let it control my entire life. I do go out and enjoy life, eat good food, and have friends. But there is time for this also. Alright, another key word in this book, afterlife. Afterlife, also known as life after death, is the continuation of existence beyond this world or after death. There are various sources for this belief, but the one most relied upon is the testimony of individuals who claim to have knowledge of the afterlife because they have. So there's plenty of people out there that will tell you they believe in the afterlife because they have died and been sent back to life, near-death experience. A lot of children have had this happen to them. Went into the tunnel and saw relatives that weren't alive when they were even born, like grandparents, and were told it was not your time to die, you have to go back. So they would come back into their bodies at the hospital, wherever, and tell their parents what they had seen. This book's written on this. Okay, visited the afterlife when they were unconscious or out-of-body experience. I personally have had an out-of-body experience, and I've explained it in previous videos. And it is spooky when you're floating up there looking down at yourself, lying on a sofa. And then you freak out and you go, oh my God, did I die? And then you don't want to die, you think, and you go back into your body and you wake up and you're looking out saying, wow, that was weird. Seeing the afterlife in a vision. These are people who testify about the afterlife. Remembered the afterlife from a previous existence, reincarnation. Been visited by a representative of the afterlife such as angels or spirits. Believe the testimony of shamans, we've talked about shamans, or intermediaries between the living and the dead. Almost every society known has some belief in survival after death, although these conceptions vary enormously. Some common ones are a continuation of life with little change in the nature of existence, spiritual improvement through a series of stages, planes, or levels, a series of lives and deaths before ultimate extinction, or the afterlife as a place of reward or punishment based on faith or good deeds on earth, and bodily resurrected at some future date. So if you read the Edgar Cayce readings, and I have, and you've done any research, apparently there's about a dozen times we're reincarnated, apparently for some spiritual growth. And what are you doing? Got a dog visiting me. Alright, dog visitation. He walked away. Christian folk traditions suggest that the souls of good people are converted into angels upon death. However, a more orthodox reading of Scripture suggests that the dead are not transformed until the Last Judgment, which is followed by a resurrection of the faithful. Christian ideas heavily influenced 19th century spiritualist authors like Andrew Jackson Davis, who dictated his lectures in a trance. Davis suggested that after their death, humans continue their spiritual progress through a series of spiritual spheres until they reach the seventh sphere and become one with the infinite vortex of love and wisdom. That sounds kind of new agey. We are all one. Love is everything. Meanwhile, they're murdering people like there's no tomorrow. I don't believe what people say, I believe what people do. Other cultures believe in a land of the dead and locate it in various places. For the Zulus, from Africa, I presume, for example, it is under the earth, an underworld mirror of this world. For the ancient Egyptians, the afterlife was very important. The believer had to act well during his life, or her lifetime, and know the rituals in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, to gain entry into the underworld. If the corpse of the pharaoh was properly embalmed and entombed, the deceased would accompany the sun god on his daily ride. Other societies believe in universalism, which holds that all will be rewarded regardless of what they have done or believed, while still others consider the afterlife less important compared to the here and now. That's certainly new agey. They can say the afterlife is not so important as the here and now. I think the afterlife is very important. Just me. Another afterlife concept found among Hindus and Buddhists is reincarnation, either as animals or as humans. Followers of both traditions interpret events in our current life as consequences of actions taken in previous lives. Some traditions believe in personal reincarnation, whereas others believe in the energy of one's soul is recycled into other living things as they are born. Those who practice spiritualism believe in the possibility of communication between the living and the dead. Some societies distinguish between the ghost, which travels to the land of the dead, and a different part of the spirit, which reincarnates. The ghost part of spirit is thought to be strong 3 or 4 days after death, and therefore various rituals are performed to discourage the ghosts from returning to haunt the living. The next word, Age of Aquarius. This is important because we are entering the Age of Aquarius. It's a term to describe a new age of thinking in Western culture based on the astrological calculation of the precession of the equinoxes. According to Western astrologers, the Age of Aquarius is one of the 12 great ages, corresponding to the 12 signs of the zodiac, each lasting approximately 2,000 years. Each of the 12 ages is thought to be characterized by particular cultural moves in society. This is what they're doing now with this propaganda, beguilement, and deception, thought, and religion. Astrologers believe that for the past 2,000 years or so, our world has been in the age of Pisces, characterized by disillusionment and skepticism, and we are now experiencing the dawn of a new age, the Age of Aquarius. So obviously the author of this book is tainted, calling the age of Pisces, when Jesus was born, the age of disillusionment. You have to really catch this stuff. The shift to Aquarius is believed to herald revolutionary change. They are trying to cause a world revolution. Lots of people will be killing each other. Again, what do they do, not what they say? Because Aquarius is the sign of knowledge, scientific breakthroughs and discoveries, but many think that there could be a price to pay for this overemphasis on intellect and science. The breakdown of the old domestic structure. Although Aquarians can be tolerant and humanitarian, suggesting the possibility of a golden age, got a bug here, the Aquarian, moving on, so I said Aquarians can be tolerant and humanitarian, suggesting the possibility of a golden age. That's what they say. The Aquarian need for total freedom without interference may be uncompromising and dangerous. No astrological organization or official body has agreed upon a specific date to begin the Aquarian age. Some say that it began in the early 1904, around the year 1904. Others that it began in the year 2000. And still others say it will not start until the late 2160. The 2160 date was calculated by the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn and coincides, these are other organizations, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, I keep saying Rosicrucian, Freemasonry, York Rite, Scottish Rite, Illuminati, Jesuits, Zionist. So this is different kinds of brotherhood. This is the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and coincides with various predictions of cataclysms, which are to be followed by 2,000 years of peace. So, again, according to the USA Georgia Guidestones in Georgia, look them up, it says they want a world population of 500 million and to maintain it at that. So they're preparing to kill 6 billion people and thinking that their prosperity and happiness for 2,000 years is going to be a good thing at the cost of killing 80 or 90% of the people on the planet. I think something fundamental wrong with that kind of thinking. If we are spiritual beings in these biological bodies, bioelectrical bodies, I would suggest that spiritually speaking, whoever these entities are, who want to bring about the death of majority of the population on the planet, I would say in the spiritual realm, they would probably be in a lot of trouble. The disagreement in dates is due to the backward movement of the vernal equinox through the zodiac. The vernal equinox takes around 26,000 years to make a complete cycle in the zodiac, but the gradual slippage creates a retrograde of one zodiac sign every 2,160 years. Some astrologers take this into account, others do not. Alright, continuing on. So we were talking about the age of Aquarius. Alright, so it has another paragraph here that starts with Edgar Cayce. Called by some the father of the New Age thinking, believed that the transition between the ages of Pisces and Aquarius overlap, and the implication of this wouldn't be fully understood until the 21st century. And I don't think there's a definite date when you change from the age of Pisces to Aquarius. When you change constellations, as you go through the elliptic plane, this could be the age of Pisces, and as the Earth moves a couple degrees, this is the age of Aquarius. And I think in between, some have said 100 to even 150, 60 years. 160 years is the transition period in the constellation, the zodiac, when you change, I guess, if there is some kind of consciousness change. It doesn't just happen in a day, if that made any sense. Alright, so Edgar Cayce believes there's a transition period. Theories about the age of Aquarius vary as much as the date. Some believe it is a time of new beginnings, while others associate it with the times of ending, such as Armageddon or Judgment Day. And we've heard a lot about that lately. All the fear-mongering. And recently, even including Alex Jones, Infowar.com, and it really disturbed me to hear him going on about the sun is going black and changing. So it makes me wonder whose side of the fence is Alex Jones on. Giving him the benefit of the doubt and the credit for warning people about a lot of things. But fear-mongering, pole shifting, earthquakes, Yellowstone, incoming planet, Herculumbus, the destroyer, the sun going black. And as a scientist, amateur scientist that I am aware that the sun doesn't just sit still. That it goes around the galaxy. The whole thing spins. And it on the elliptic plane, let's say this is the elliptic plane, the sun appears to go above and below the elliptic plane in a sine wave. And to go all the way around the elliptic plane, I think, is 26,000 years. So when it crosses the elliptic plane, it could be some turbulence, like you're in a jet plane and you go through turbulence. And when you go to the top of the sine wave and you change to go down, it could be a polarity change. And the same thing when you go below and you turn around and you start coming back up. So the sun, when it goes around the galaxy, does a sine wave. And you have three critical points crossing the elliptic plane. And then when it goes on the north side of the galaxy, and then it crosses it again to go to the south side, if that's how the galaxy works and our sun, and dragging all the planets with it. So there could be some tumultuous turbulence at any one of those crossings. The peak the crossing of the elliptic plane, the peak again on the bottom, crossing of the elliptic plane. I suppose that would be a galactic polarity change. But I do believe in the spiritual realm and God and something much more infinite than our human short lives, and that planet Earth has had civilizations on it for quite a while, ancient monuments, thousands of years, 10, 20,000, I think verifiable at least. So if it's our time to go, and the whole planet's going to be destroyed, there's nothing we can do about it. But I don't think that's what's really happening. I think the people who want to take charge from an evil, malevolent point of view are using all the fear-mongering. So let's get back to the book. So some people believe in Armageddon and Judgment Day. I think the forces, the dark forces, whether they be spiritual creatures who were thrown out of heaven, angels, living on Earth, reincarnated half human, half reptilian, or 100% reptilian, or gray aliens, and they've been operating in hidden caves and darkness, causing all kinds of suffering on planet Earth. So it seems. This disparity may be because Aquarius is ruled by two planets, Saturn, the symbol of time and endurance, and Uranus, the symbol of revolution. Generally, though, the age of Aquarius is thought to be an era of enlightenment, joy, accomplishment, peace, and spiritual empowerment. I helped a friend of mine move on Thursday, and she sold her house on Friday. She said she couldn't close on her house on Thursday because Saturn was ascending or something. Anyways, she described to me that it was a time when you should just be very careful. So here we are on Thursday, which she refused to close on her house because she couldn't sign anything, according to some advisor of hers who's into the zodiac. True story here. Yesterday, Thursday, Friday, this is Saturday. So anyways, we stopped at the grocery store to get something to eat while we were packing stuff up. And when I paid for the food, the change I got back from a $100 bill was $77.77. So I thought that was rather spooky, and so did a couple other people who were in line. And one guy said, "Man, you better go buy some lottery tickets." So I did go buy a couple lottery tickets. Guess I'm a little superstitious. Maybe it was my lucky day. And we got into the vehicle, and I mentioned to my friend this thing, and I looked at the clock in my truck, and it was 11:11. Oh, I said, wow, twice in a row. 77, 77, 11, 11. So when I got back home that evening, I had so many views, 20,666. I said, whoa. And the next morning when I got up, it was 20,777. I go, whoa. And I took pictures, by the way. It was so crazy. I know nobody will believe me, so why don't I just look at my camera and see if I got the picture. I use the other camera. I have a Canon. But I took a picture of my computer screen with the 20,777 views. So I don't know if it's that way today. Actually, today was, and I took another picture, something like a collective thing of with 666 in it. So I don't know what her astrologer was telling her, but apparently the last couple days are kind of weird for numbers for me. And then I'm reading this stuff. I'm always saying, don't believe me. So I went and got my Canon camera, and I guess it can show up on this thing. But it says 26661. Let's see if I can... That's the first or second time I didn't take a picture because it didn't spook me out. But here's the views 1777. So I'm not making up the whole story, and my friend can verify the 70. I got the receipt for the $77.77 when I bought the food. So I have that evidence. And then my friend did see the 1111 I pointed out on the dashboard. And another thing I noticed, if I can get my camera, they were doing that just spooky stuff, that's all I'm trying to say. Got some more crazy pictures on here. If I can get the camera to show me. Sometimes you forget how to do things. This is the statue they're putting up in Chicago. I think I've shown this before. The devil. I got so many more pictures. I keep evidence of everything I talk about. That's what I'm trying to say. Alright, back to Edgar Cayce in this book. So there I was getting to change 7777 when my friend said she couldn't sign papers on Thursday because Saturn was ascending or something. And Saturn is supposed to be also some kind of anagram or representation of Satan. And then my dashboard said 111, and then my views was 121666, and then it was 777, which I showed you on the camera. Just boom, 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 boom. Crazy. I know. So let's finish this. The term Age of Aquarius was popular in the 1960s, a period of great upheaval, social change, and interest in spiritual development and alternate lifestyles. We all know this. The great conjunction of Sun, Moon, Venus, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, and Saturn on 5 February 1962 was said to be a sign of the dawning of a new age, and the Age of Aquarius has since been supplanted by the term New Age. I keep using that term all the time. So, to support all of what I just said, that a lot of people are not aware of reality, I went and grabbed a couple books. And Edgar Cayce, well-known, I guess America's greatest psychic, who, Edgar Cayce's Story of Jesus. So if you're going to believe Edgar Cayce in his 17,000 plus or minus readings that apparently everybody in the world believes, they have an Edgar Cayce Institute in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And I guess a pause ought to be in order right now. So I might point out that I'm looking up, and I haven't seen this in a while, but the sky sprang is, I guess what you could say, off the chart. I could get up, but I think you can see enough of it to say that that's a lot of sprayed chemicals in the sky. So when you talk about this age of Aquarius and this new age and new world order and all this craziness I'm talking about, and you look up and they're dumping chemicals in the sky, I guess if you're a normal person, you've got to ask why. And they Georgia USA Guidestones indicate they want to depopulate the planet. And I'm looking around for the last 2 days. I have a nice garden in front of me here. And I got to tell you, I don't see any bees. I've looked. No bees. I think bees are necessary. So I don't know if somebody's trying to create a barren planet for everything to die off for this new age. So anyways, we're talking about Edgar Cayce. America's Sleeping Prophet offers his unique interpretation of the greatest story ever told, Jesus. Nice thick book. Here's another one, edited and introduced by Mark Thurston, PhD, The Essential Edgar Cayce. So a PhD person, Mark Thurston. Somebody smarter than me. I don't have a PhD. And Edgar Cayce collection. Edgar Cayce on dreams, healing, diet, health, and ESP. Again, another big thick book. There's so many books in Edgar Cayce. Well recognized as an authentic prophet. And then we talk about the Greys with Aleister Crowley, the evilest man alive, in communication with Hiawas or Lamb, and he drew pictures of this creature. And he wrote the Book of the Law, which is like the opposite of the Bible, do as thou wilt, even pedophilia, child molestation, sacrificing people, murdering people, robbing people. You can do whatever you want in this new age. And the creature that he drew, Hiawas or Lamb, and you can look this up on the computer, you can search it, and you're going to find out, looks just like a gray alien. I got a couple books by Whitley Strieber, and I've read one or two. It gets worse. I saw another video, and as usual, I ordered the book. I don't believe anything. I don't want anybody to believe me. Go do your homework like I do. Spend $10,000 on photos and magazines and books and printed out documents, which I have by the cases and cases and cases. But look at this. Seriously. Rise of the Warrior Cop. The militarization of America's police force. We're going to go over these books. And I keep mentioning Helena Blavatsky, The Secret Doctrine, the person who helped start the Theosophist Society, which apparently is into cosmology, the religion of the cosmos, where people get initiated into secret knowledge and magic that under threat of death they can't share with the rest of us. Using it to manipulate society, and they're not opposed, as Aleister Crowley's Book of the Law indicates, and I guess their religion, the Hegelian dialectic, and the ends justify the means, that they don't mind mass murdering millions of people, and probably, I suppose, it wouldn't stop at billions. And a lot of the New Age books were published by Lucifer Trust Company, Lucifer Publishing Company. And so I wanted to show a book that says Lucifer Publishing Company. Alice Bailey, who was the successor to Helena Blavatsky. Initiation, Human and Solar. So I have to read this, and we'll be doing videos on this. It's all real what I talk about. And Jim Mars, a well-respected researcher, psychic research, people leaving their body. I keep talking about it. Here's the book, Jim Mars, PSI Spies. It says on the back here, Jim Mars, celebrated journalist and author of Alien Agenda, Rule by Secrecy, and the New York Times bestseller Crossfire, unravels the mystery behind the psychic phenomena known as remote viewing. In lean journalistic style, Mars uncovers the military program that turns soldiers into psychic spies. Find out what happens when the psychic soldiers use their abilities to unlock the mysteries behind UFOs, time travel, the assassination of JFK, and the Soviet plot to kill Ronald Reagan. Just a little more. The Soul Hustlers, an expose of the hoax of astrology, the UFO mystery that will not die, and what psychics don't tell you. And I keep referring to these books. The Six-Pointed Star. The Jewish rabbi Marvin Antelman, leader of the USA, United States Jewish Congress, so not just any rabbi, wrote 2 volumes of books. It says on the back of one of these, how the Illuminati founded artificial Judaism. How Judaism was labeled orthodox in order to destroy it. So a lot of good Jews are trying to warn the people about the same things I'm trying to tell people exist. There is a plot to destroy Christianity and a plot to enslave the world, apparently. The plot to destroy the Torah through the field of biblical criticism. That's what it says here. Opaque means your belief in God. They don't want you to pray. They know it works and it's powerful. And just a little bit more here. Ancient mystery cults, the snake. Discovering your past lives. There's so much material available. But you can read some of this, but you got to use your brain and don't think of this stuff as biblical material. The best book on reincarnation you'll ever read in this lifetime. How the clothes you wear can reflect your past life. The meaning of birthmarks. The choices you made before you were born. The 3 types of soulmate. Your ability to create your own reality. New material. New Age material. Alright, back to the book. The Psychic Encyclopedia of the psychic world. Alright, so the next word, Akasha, A-K-A-S-H-A. Apparently there are religions and people who believe there's some kind of spiritual realm with all the records of mankind. And if you can leave your body and go to this realm, or through dreams or whatever, you can access this library. In Buddhism and Hinduism, Akasha is the all-pervasive life force, a universal medium. It fits all space and penetrates all matter. It is everything and everything is in it. Hindu philosophy interprets the Akasha as the ether. That would be all the air and everything. Spiritual realm, where the ghosts go. The 5th element that permeates the universe, acting as an agent through the electromagnetic forces, operate. In the practice of yoga, so if you meditate, the Akasha is one of the 3 universal principles, along with the prana, breath of life, and the creative mind. The 3 were all sources of psychic power. From Akasha comes will, which makes anything possible. From the ether, all around me, wherever I am, high up in the atmosphere, down below in the earth, there is the ether. And if you use your will, your mental will, prayer, your will, Anything is possible. Magic. In Buddhism, the Akasha is space. Both space that is bound to the material world and space that is infinite. Madame Blavatsky, here we go, co-founder of the Theosophical Society, Theosophists, introduced this notion to the West when she came back from the East, Asia. She came back to Europe, England, this notion to the West, and compared the Akasha to other forms of the universal life force, such as the sidereal light of the Rosicrucian. There you go, all these people into the mystery school of Babylon. Babylon means gateway to the gods. This is the secret cosmic religion, cosmology, of all these secret societies that, again, under threat of death, they swear they will not divulge these secrets to the rest of us, the uninitiated, or as the Masons call us, Freemasons, the profane, or many of the bad Jewish folks, not the good Jewish folks, call us the goyim, or that means cattle, or as H.G. Wells said, animals not to be trusted, and more. The Hebrew Ra, or moving spirit, and the quintessential or luminous fifth element, invisible to humans, which birds and other foul elements, which binds the other four elements, Blavatsky suggested that the Akasha forms the world's soul, the Amina Mundi, and produces mesmeric operations of nature. So I do have friends who will tell me that we're all one soul. There is no such thing as good or bad or evil. Do whatever you want. This is the New Age teaching. And I don't suppose that when Moses went up to the mountain to get the 10 Commandments, that God, with a thunderous voice, gave Moses those 10 Commandments just as a joke. I don't think so. And apparently in Sodom and Gomorrah, when the city was destroyed, or the Great Flood, when the people of the planet were destroyed, who were so perverted, they were into half man, half animal, bestiality, sex with animal, eugenics, genetics. They had created monsters on earth, and apparently the higher being God, whatever that realm is, had to wipe all the life off the planet. And according to the Hopi Indians and many other native tribes all over the planet, some kinds of beings went to these different groups, helped them build underground facilities or go high into mountains to survive the Great Flood. So whatever happened back then, there were entities that knew the Great Flood was coming. If you read all this stuff, which I have been, and showing it in my videos. So one more, Akashic Records. So Akasha means there's the whole universe as we know it is like a gigantic CD with all the information on everything and everybody, everywhere, past, present, and future. So the Akashic Records, Akashic, is the Sanskrit word meaning the fundamental etheric substance of the universe. According to Theosophy, the Akashic Records, or Book of Life, is extrasensory information that exists in another dimension, like the ultimate cosmic library. The records contain information on all world events and all thoughts and deeds that have taken place or will take place on earth. So is this whole reality already written? They may be read only by adepts, people who are initiated. Rudolf Steiner, for example, claims to have consulted the Akashic Records for his descriptions of Atlantis. Edgar Cayce also claimed to have seen the Book of Life. Some psychics say they consult the Akashic Records through clairvoyance or during out-of-the-body experiences. The Akashic Records are also called the universal memory of nature. And it is thought that everyone has an inherent ability to see his or own book and all the things they have done or felt in life. It is simply a matter of developing this psychic ability. The process of consulting the records is described by psychics as like visiting an enormous library and looking up information in books. Some say they are greeted by doorkeepers or spirit guides who assist them in finding correct information. The books are kept in rows, line upon line, stack upon stack, corridor upon corridor. Some books are charred, turned up at the edges and blackened, as if they had been pulled out of a fire. Some are beautifully illuminated scrolls, and others are embossed in gold leaf with pages in rainbow colors. Yet others are bound in red leather with special emblems. So, anything else I want to do here? The next word is alchemy. The term alchemy, commonly believed to refer to attempts to change base metals into gold, covers a wide range of topics, from the discovery of a single cure for all diseases to the quest for immortality, from the creation of artificial life to straightforward descriptions of scientific techniques. So a lot of people have been looking for Philosopher's Stone or secrets to immortality. Broadly, one could describe alchemy as the art of converting that which is base, both in the material and spiritual world, into something more perfect. Symbolically, alchemy is the mystical art of human spiritual transformation into a higher form of being. So I suppose if I were to transfer before this camera into a spiritual being, that would be alchemy. The spiritual teachings of alchemy were based on the idea that humans have a spirit or soul as well. So many people I talk to these days say, Rick, come on, don't you know? Nobody believes in God anymore. There's no devil. You don't have a soul. When you die, it's all over. And then I read these books. And it was thought that if the spirit could be compressed or concentrated, the secret of changing one aspect of nature into another could be discovered. The elusive catalyst that allowed this change to take place is known as the Philosopher's Stone, which is not a stone but a powder or liquid that turned base metal into gold and when swallowed gives everlasting life. Well, the secret initiates of the Freemasons, Illuminati, Witchcraft, Zionism, Jesuits, in other words, the people who control the world, have this Philosopher's Stone powder or liquid and are going to have everlasting life. I suspect we're all in trouble. These people need to go. All these evil ones causing wars and economic collapses and all that stuff. Alchemists are often pictured as stirring a bubbly concoction of base metal on a fire, hoping it will turn to gold. However, not all alchemists were like this, and some of the best minds of the last 20 or so centuries have studied alchemy as a way to unlock the secrets of nature. Alchemy probably first emerged in ancient Egypt and China. In China, it was purported to transmit base metals into gold, and the gold so produced was thought to have the ability to cure disease and prolong life. In Egypt, the methods of transmutation were kept secret by temple priests. Western alchemy has had its basis in the skills of those Egyptian priests. Eastern mysticism, or the Aristotelian theory of the composition of matter. Aristotle followed the theory of Empedocles, taught that all matter was composed of 4 elements: water, fire, earth, and air. Different materials found in nature contained different ratios of these 4 elements, and so by the proper treatment of base metals could be turned into gold. And it just goes on and talking about more evidence. Here's another good word: angel. Then I think I'll end this video. So I've only touched a short amount of material of this book, obviously. If you want to get the book and learn all these things they don't want you to know. But remember, it is tainted. It tries to paint everything in a positive nature and not expose the evil nature of people who have information they don't share with others, and using it for their own power and domination and control over people. An immortal supernatural being which mediates between God and humanity, and angels. Angels are specific to Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, but they occur as helping spirits in other traditions. The word angel comes from the Greek angelos, messenger, and the name refers to one of the angel's most important duties, which is to travel back and forth between the celestial and earthly realms, bringing human prayers to heaven and God's answers to earth. Angels are representatives of God on earth, delivering divine messages or helping humans according to God's will. Angels exist in the celestial realm, but have the ability to assume, get this, a physical form and pass as human beings. I'm thinking aliens and UFOs and all this stuff. They may bring fire or bring light. Sometimes they are pictured with wings and sometimes without. Where appropriate, they appear to humans in visionary experiences or dreams. Prior to the Western Enlightenment, angels were believed to, by many, to play a magical role in daily life. However, after the scientific revolution, angels were no longer taken seriously, except by poets and romantically inclined. The mystic Emanuel Swedenborg, among other occult figures, claimed to commune with angels. Swedenborg called the souls of the dead angels and said he visited them in the afterlife during his trances. Today, angels have made a comeback in popularity, due in part to a widespread spiritual hunger for supernatural assurance and guidance. Some people consider the appearance of a spirit of the dead, such as a family member, to be an angel, and that comes to warn or comfort them. In deathbed visions, the souls of dead friends and family members who come to help a dying person, who are often believed to be angels. Many people still claim to experience angel visions, angelic visions, especially those who have gone through near-death experiences, and in many such accounts, as an angel greets them at the threshold of death. So there's just so much more in this book. That was just some A's. You got ESP in here, ghost, guide, guardian, spirit. And this will all make a little more sense when I do my future videos. When we realize that apparently this kind of world is out there. Here's a word in L, lemur. One of 2 types of ghost in Roman belief. L-E-M-U-R-E. Lemurs were thought to be the ghost of people who died without leaving any relatives behind. They were associated with evil spirits. Lemur. Medicine man, meditation, New Age. I guess I should read that. New Age, umbrella term used to describe a movement that encompasses a broad range of Eastern and Western interests in mysticism, spirituality, religion, health, parapsychology, ecology, philosophy, self-development, and the occult. It is impossible to define exactly, as opinions differ greatly, and a great deal of what is considered New Age is not new, but a rediscovery of ancient and earlier ways of thinking, being, and living. The term New Age replaces the Age of Aquarius, label used in the 1960s, to describe the astrologically predicted dawning of a new age characterized by spiritualism, intuition, and revolutionary new ways of thinking. Paganism is in here, witches, magicians, Wiccans, psychic, psyche, Kabbalah, rebirthing, Saturday. So it's Saturday, I'll read this. The last day of the week, representing the end of a cycle, which to the superstitious is both lucky and unlucky. For example, some people believe that people born on Saturday can see ghosts. In the lore of Eastern Europe, people born on Saturday are believed to be able to see vampires, while in Greek folklore, Saturday is believed to be the day for killing vampires in their graves, as it is the only day of the week vampires allegedly sleep in their graves, if you believe that. Screaming skulls, silver, soul lost, soulmate, sorcery, sorcerer, spirit guide, synchronicity, like I just mentioned about getting $77.77 and change, getting in my car telling my friend and 11:11 was on the clock, getting back to my computer and the views on my videos was 21,666. I check later, it's 21,777, and then I check on something else, another 666, and I showed you a couple things on my camera. Synchronicity, tree spirits, tree of life, vortex, witch of Endor, witch doctor. So I do book reviews, I read book, I have resources. I hope this video has been entertaining and informative, but I think there's more to reality than we all know about. And apparently, there's sky spraying us today. And go look outside your house and take a picture or a video if they're dumping chemicals. Get a pair of binoculars and see. They're not continuous lines. They come along, turn on the valve. So anyways, thank you for watching my video. Rick Miracle reporting.